Hi everyone, this is Edwin Jordan here for redheadx.com, and welcome to this tutorial on how to build a sofa using tufting and piping. Now if you haven't watched my other previous video on how to create a basic sofa, I do recommend going back and taking a look at that guy. There's a lot of good information in there, and I'm going to be going through a lot of that information in this tutorial here, and I'm going to be going through it without really explaining as much as I did in that first tutorial. So I definitely recommend just kind of going back, maybe kind of breeze through it just to see what I did. That way you don't get lost in this tutorial. So the sofa that I'm going to be doing today is going to be off of a website called allmodernfurniture.com. Let me just go ahead and pull that up for you. And the sofa is going to be called the Gus. Actually, I can't remember what it's called. Let's go to allmodernfurniture.com. Let's just pull that up for you. And here it is, allmodernfurniture.com. And you're going to want to go to the living area. Inside of living, we're going to go to sofas. And inside of sofas, we're going to be going to the Gus Modern Spencer sofa. So if you're not sure what tufting is the kind of the indents inside of the cushions, kind of like where the buttons go. That creates these little squares here. So that's what tufting is. Piping is where we have the piping kind of that goes around our cushion to give it a little bit more detail, kind of an accent to this guy. So this guy we're going to be doing, so just to kind of take a look at what we have. We have a single cushion that goes along the back of this sofa. We have two pillows that we need to create. We have one whole piece of the seat cushion here. We have this whole section here, which is just going to be all one piece. We have to create that, as well as we have this metal framing that goes around that holds up our sofa. Take a look at some other pictures. This is what it looks like from the side. And on this website, it's really cool is that they have some kind of graph diagrams so you can see how the squares look or how big the squares are. It gives you the dimensions. So the height of this sofa is going to be 31 inches by 83 inches wide. The depth of it's going to be 34. It also gives us the height of our seat cushion as well as the height of our arm rest. So with that said and done, let's go ahead and jump into that. If you'd like to follow along, you can just go ahead and type in the name of this chair, which is the Gus Spencer chair, into Google, hit enter, and it should pop up these images. Now on this website you're not going to be able to save, not that I know of, you're not going to be able to save these pictures. So you're going to have to go outside the website to pull these images out. So let's go ahead and jump into this guy. To pull up our images, we're going to go over here to rendering. Inside of rendering, we're going to go down to view image file. And once place your images into some folder, and you can just go ahead and pull them up from there. That way they're inside of 3ds Max. So you don't have to keep going back and forth between maybe Photoshop or whatnot. So they're right here. Alright. A couple of things before we start building this, guys. We want to start setting up our furniture piece. We're going to want to change our units for our box. So by default, Max has the max units. So we're going to want to go to our customization and go to unit setup. Inside of unit setup, you're just going to want to make sure that you are on US standard. Currently we're on US standard, fractional feet. I just want to make sure I'm in inches, but you just type in whatever makes you comfortable if you're working with feet or inches. Maybe just do inches for now. Here's your precision. If it's 1/4 of an inch, half an inch, 1/8 of an inch, and then hit OK. Also, we might want to set up our graph units. So to set up our graph units, what we're going to do is just going to go up to snaps, right click on snaps, come over to our home grid, and inside of our grid we're going to go ahead and set its spacing. So because we're working in inches, I'm just going to go ahead and set this guy to our grid spacing to 1 inch. That way it's just a little bit easier to work with when I'm in my orthographic mode. So if I'm in my left view, you can see that everything is spaced out within 1 inch, and every major line is going to be every 10 inches. So here's 10 inches, here's 20, and so on. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with this guy. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and create the base of our sofa here. To do that, just go grab a box from the top view. I'm just going to go ahead and drag out any shape for now. And so just so you can see what I did, I got the height there. I'm not too worried about what the height is right now. In our picture we don't really have the height, so I'm just going to do it by eye. And let's come over to modify. Try not to do any of your changes inside of create. Sometimes it leads to you changing and it doesn't move anything, so I just like to jump straight to my modify. So inside of modify, let's go ahead and change our length, which is, let's make sure which one it is. That's going to be 34 inches. Let's go and type that again. So 34 inches. And we're also going to do a length of 83. So 83 inches. And we have a height. We don't know our height yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and increase this guy. Let's say about, maybe it's about half a foot, something like that. I could probably even make it a little bit smaller. Now also we're going to need some segments. We're going to need a segment for the arms, and we're going to need a side for the segments for the back of this chair. So I went ahead and added 2 segments for what are going to be my arms, and 2 segments for what's going to be the back of the chair, 3 segments for the arms, and I don't need any segments for anything else. I'm going to go ahead and right click, convert this guy to an editable poly, and let's go to the top view, and I'm going to go ahead and space out these guys so these can make up the arms. So I'm going to use my scale tool and scale these guys out. Try to use when you're using the scale tool, use a selection center. That way these guys will move for you. So right about there, something right in there. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and select this middle guy, move him back to right about there. So that's going to make the just kind of the image of what this is going to be. So I'm going to go now to my polygon, select these top polygons here using control, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude this up over here instead of our edit polygons, extrude. Now if you want to get really technical about it, you could use these grids, set your grid spacing just so you can kind of get more accurate. I'm just going to be kind of rushing through this right now, but to be more accurate you would want to use the grid so you can see exactly how high you're actually moving. So let's just call that. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now if I look at the side of this chair, I can see that it's actually slanted a little bit, so I need to add in that slant. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my left view, and let's go ahead and go to wireframe, and let's go ahead and grab this top vertex here, and I'm going to move this guy back a little bit. Actually, no, I'm so sorry. I skipped one step. Let's go ahead and Control Z that. This guy actually comes up a little bit, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is go to Polygon, grab this face here, and extrude that up. And I'm just going to do it by eye. I'm going to come back and adjust some of these guys in a second. And let's just say something right in there. Hit OK. And go to my left view now. It's going to adjust some of this to be a little bit higher. Something right in there, maybe right about there. Alright. So back into wireframe F3, I'm going to go ahead and grab this top vertex here, push it back slightly, grab these vertices here. I'm not going to grab this middle one because I don't want to mess with this line here. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull this guy forward. Grab these two actually and pull them forward. There we go. And that looks good right there. Actually, it's probably a little bit too much of a slant. So maybe decrease that slant a little bit. So somewhere right in there. Looks close enough. So that's what's going to be our chair. I'm just going to fine-tune this a little bit more. And when we come back, we will add the cushions with the tufting.